Have you ever wondered why you repeatedly feel anxious, angry, or frustrated? It's not just a psychological habit, but a complete chemistry that is recreated inside your body, over and over again, as if you're living on a battlefield. Dr. Joe Dispenza reveals in this part how many of us are not living in the present, but in a constant state of survival, as if danger is lurking at every moment, even if there's nothing actually threatening us. In primitive times, the survival response used to save lives. The lion approaches, the brain sends signals, the heart beats faster, and the muscles prepare to run or fight. But in our modern world, there's no lion. There's only a disturbing email, an argument at work, or an old memory stuck in the mind. And despite the different context, the body doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. So it releases cortisol, tightens the muscles, and prepares you for survival day after day. And surprisingly, a person can become addicted to this state without realizing it. They live in a constant emotional emergency, feeding on fear, stress, and control. Instead of using this short-term state as a tool for protection, it becomes their entire lifestyle, just as if the alarm button is stuck in the on position. Imagine someone who starts their day expecting the worst, drives angrily, goes to work on edge, speaks anxiously, and sleeps with confused thoughts. They're not living their life. They're merely surviving it. And every time this pattern repeats, the same emotions, annoyance, tension, vigilance, become more familiar until they become part of their identity. Suffering, as Dispenza describes it, is not a tragedy out of control, but a repeated chemistry through which we teach our bodies how to feel. And over time, we begin to repeat this chemistry unconsciously, even when there's no logical reason, simply because our bodies got used to this feeling. Becoming aware of this truth is the beginning of liberation. To understand that many of your emotions are not conscious reactions, but chemically memorized repetitions. Only then can you ask yourself, who is leading my life now? Me or my biological memories? Suffering is not your destiny. It may just be a habit, and it's time to break it.
Imagine waking up every morning, but you're not actually living a new day. You're just repeating your yesterday without realizing it. You wake up with the same emotions, go through the same thoughts, and dive into the same reactions. And even though the world around you is changing, you don't. And the reason? Your mind is ruled by memory, sentencing you to reproduce the same reality. In this part of the book, Dr. Joe Dispenza amazes us with a shocking truth. We don't create our future from our dreams or goals, but from our past. When we think in the same way, feel the same feeling, and respond to situations with the same behavior, we are simply repeating ourselves. The brain reactivates the same neural networks. The body secretes the same chemistry. And the result, a new day with an old flavor. Imagine this. Every time you recall a disappointment, a betrayal, or a moment of failure, you're not just remembering. You're reliving that moment with all its neurological details. The brain doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. And so every negative memory reactivates the same pathways and secretes the same emotions until your body becomes addicted to a specific emotional state. And over time, this emotion turns into a personality. The fearful becomes constantly afraid, and the sad becomes a sad person, even without reason. And without awareness, memory becomes the program we use to write our future reality. Reflect on that. Are your decisions truly coming from your current awareness? Or are you acting based on an old experience that hasn't yet healed? Do you judge others for who they are, or by your memories of them? And is what you fear today a real fear, or just a shadow of the past returning every day in the form of anxiety? When we understand this game, we realize that freedom doesn't begin with changing circumstances, but with breaking this cycle. Every conscious thought, every new emotion, every moment of presence is a chance to write a different future. Your memory is not a prison unless you insist on opening the same door every day. And if you truly want to create your future, you must start from where no past resides, from the present moment. Are you ready to become a new being, not ruled by memory, but creating his reality by will? Every moment of awareness is a beginning. Continue the journey, for there is still much ahead for us to discover.
As if you're stuck in a closed loop, trying to change, to become better, to start anew. But every attempt feels like you're being pulled backward by a hidden force. Why? Because you're simply trying to become someone different while still practicing your old self every day. In this part, Dr. Joe Dispenza takes us to the heart of the essential question: how do we become who we want to be? And the answer is not in willpower or a multitude of decisions, but in a deep understanding that a human being does not change by wishing, but when he first dismantles his current being. We repeat ourselves daily, not because we don't want to change, but because we are emotional creatures more than we are rational ones. Every feeling we carry, every reaction we repeat, every way we view ourselves forms a precise mold that reshapes us again every morning. We don't just wake up with our bodies, but with our thoughts, our emotions, and our story. And here lies the paradox. You cannot create a new life while thinking, feeling, and behaving in the same way as yesterday. To become who you are is not a matter of gaining, but one of stripping away. To shed the layers of the past, one belief after another, one feeling after another, until you reach a free essence, untouched by fear, or conditions, or programming. Change does not begin from the outside. It begins when you sit in silence, face yourself, and begin asking the questions that hurt. Who am I, really? Is this sadness a part of me, or just an old feeling that has possessed me? Is the personality I live with truly me, or a shield I wore when I was hurt and never took off? What you discover here is astonishing. You don't have to carry everything you've ever been. You can start again, not by creating a new personality, but by purifying yourself until your truth appears. To become who you are does not mean creating something extraordinary, but remembering who you were before you forgot yourself. Perhaps it's time to stop chasing an ideal version and begin the journey inward, because only from there the new is born. It may seem strange to imagine that your brain, that silent organ inside your skull, is not a fixed machine, but a living entity that is constantly changing. But the revolutionary truth that Dr. Joe Dispenza affirms here is that our brains do not control us. Rather, we are the ones who reshape them at every moment. Every thought that passes through you, every feeling you evoke, every situation you respond to creates new neural connections,
or strengthens the old ones. The brain is not just a record of the past, but a tool for creating the future. And the fascinating part is that simply being aware of this fact is enough to start real change. For a long time, people believed that the brain structure is formed during childhood and then sealed forever. But modern neuroscience has proven the exact opposite. Every time you think in a new way, every time you feel a different emotion, every time you change your behavior, you are reprogramming your brain, as if you're holding an invisible brush and redrawing the map of your mind. Imagine that you always think in a negative way. I'm a failure, no one loves me, I'll never succeed. Every time you repeat these thoughts, you are strengthening a neural pathway in your brain and making it the easiest route for thinking. But the moment you say, "What if I'm capable of change?" you're not just asking a question, you're opening a new neural passage and beginning to build a different network inside your brain. The brain is flexible, capable of being reshaped, but it needs just one thing to begin changing: to exit the automatic mode and enter a state of true awareness. We are not prisoners of the past, as long as we have the ability to think differently today. And every small change in thought is a chemical, neural, physical step toward a new self. You don't need a miracle, nor extraordinary luck. All you need is to believe that your brain is not carved in stone, but open to being rewritten. And every moment of awareness is a new line in that writing. Yes, our brains do change, and the real question is, will you let it change you by chance, or will you choose the new shape you want to become?
Imagine that nothing around you changes, but you feel that everything has changed. People are the same. Circumstances are the same. The place is the same. And yet, you are completely different. As if you suddenly woke up to see the world in new covers, with wider eyes, with a calmer heart. And this is the essence of what Dr. Joe Dispenza presents when he says, through the power of the mind alone, you can change your life. This may sound like a magical promise or repeated motivation and slogans, but science proves that thought alone has the ability to cause real biological change in the body and reality. When you deeply imagine something and live it inside as if it's actually happening, your brain starts sending the same signals as if you are truly experiencing it. If you vividly imagine success, a specific achievement, or healing, your brain begins activating the neural pathways related to that achievement or healing. The body doesn't distinguish between reality and vivid imagination. And the result? New chemistry is generated, a different feeling begins to emerge, and the new programming begins to take shape. You don't always need an external event to change. Sometimes all you need is a moment of deep focus where you immerse yourself completely until your body believes you. Dispenza puts us in front of a simple yet powerful equation. If you can change your mind, the chemistry of your body will change. And if the chemistry of your body changes, your feeling will change. And if your feeling changes, your behavior will change. And if your behavior changes, your reality will change. And all of this starts from within, not from the world. It's not easy, but it's real. Superficial thoughts don't create change, but focused thought, when tied with belief and emotion, becomes a creative tool. Perhaps that's why meditations, intention, and imagination were sacred tools across the ages, because they are the keys to entering depth, to the place where the first seeds of change are planted. You don't need a new life, but a new mind that sees life as it's never seen it before. And that is possible through the power of the mind alone. The question now is not, is this possible? But Are you ready to sit with yourself honestly and begin?
When you look in the mirror, you see one face, one body, one self. But the truth that science reveals to us and that Dr. Joe Dispenza deepens is that you don't have just one mind, but three. Three integrated neural centers reside within you, speak different languages, and influence every decision, emotion, and reaction you experience. The first and most well-known brain is what we call the mental brain or the thinking brain, located in the head. Here, thoughts, logic, analysis, language, and imagination are generated. It is the center of planning, dreaming, intention, and everything we consciously perceive. But, as we'll see, it's just the beginning. Beneath it is the emotional brain in the heart, or what is known as the limbic system. Here reside the emotions: love, fear, safety, longing, anger. It doesn't deal in logic, but in feeling. And sometimes you may think you've made a rational decision, but in reality, your heart was the one guiding you first. Then we come to the third brain, the deeper storage, the body brain, or the gut mind. Yes, your intestines possess an independent nervous system, a complete network of neurons called the second brain. Here are stored reactions, habits, instincts, and everything programmed over time. It's what makes you feel tightness when you're afraid, or ease when you feel comfortable with a decision without knowing why. And so when you think of something new, your heart may feel excitement or anxiety, and your body responds either with readiness or resistance. And if these three brains are not working in harmony, you will find yourself internally torn, thinking one thing, feeling another, and your body pulling you toward something entirely different. Dispenza teaches us that inner harmony doesn't happen when you think only, but when you convince your mind, touch your heart, and reprogram your body, all in the same direction. Only then does real change become possible. And when the thought is clear in your mind, the emotion sincere in your heart, and the body ready to move, intention becomes reality. So don't just say, "I want to change." Let that desire touch your thoughts, your emotions, and your body until it becomes real in every cell of you. Because you don't change with one mind, but with three brains working as one force toward a new self.
To change is to rebel, not against others, but against three mighty forces that conspire to keep you as you are: the environment, the body, and time. Dr. Joe Dispenza doesn't offer a magical recipe for change. He confronts us with the harsh truth. If you don't overcome the influence of these three forces, your new self will remain nothing more than a beautiful idea that never sees the light. Your first enemy is the environment. Everything around you, the house, the street, the workplace, people, the phone, the routine, all of it sends invisible messages to your mind every day. Messages that say, stay the same. The brain feeds on repetition, on familiar images, on places that trigger the same memories, so they reactivate the same emotions. And that's why when you try to change within the same environment that shaped you, you'll find yourself unconsciously returning to what you are. Then comes the bigger challenge, your body, because it doesn't forget. It doesn't care what you think or what you decide. It operates based on what it's used to. If you've lived for years in stress, even if you decide to be calm, your body will still demand its usual dose of anxiety, as if it were addicted. And when you sit to meditate, your muscles will start to fidget, your mind will escape, your heart will become restless, not because you can't, but because your body is resisting change. And the final stronghold is time. Your mind loves to divide life into past, present, and future. But unfortunately, most of us live as prisoners of the past, or anxious about the future, and rarely are we here, now. And unless you learn how to be present in the moment, how to disconnect from the psychological time that limits you, the loop won't break. You can't create a new self while thinking with yesterday's mind, feeling with yesterday's body, and waiting for tomorrow to change by itself. That's why real change requires you to become bigger than your environment, to say, I am not the product of what's around me, but of what I choose within me. And to become stronger than your body by mastering it, not letting it take the lead. And to transcend time by being fully present in the now. Because only the now is the place where the future is made. You are not a victim of these forces. You are the awareness capable of observing them and freeing yourself from them. And the moment you realize that, your real journey begins.
Sometimes change is not about gaining something new, but about letting go of what no longer serves you. To shed the old skin, not because you hate it, but because it has become too tight for the soul that is expanding. And here, Dr. Joe Dispenza leads us to a crucial key. You will not build a new self before you let go of the old mind. But what is this old mind? It's not just passing thoughts or old memories, but the neurological and emotional identity you've been living with. The old mind is that collection of beliefs, reactions, expectations, and emotions that have repeated inside you for years until they became you. And every day you live with the same emotions and think in the same way, you are reinstalling this mind and reproducing the same reality. Dispenza likens the mind to a program device. Imagine that one day you wrote a program and coded it into fear, anxiety, procrastination, and frustration, then pressed run and forgot to shut it down. Every day, this program restarts itself, and even if you decide to change, you'll find yourself returning to the old because the program is still running. And here comes the true power of meditation. Not as a spiritual technique, but as a tool to shed the old mind. In a moment of silence, in an honest meditation session, for the first time you begin to observe your thoughts instead of being a prisoner to them. You begin to notice the emotional habits you used to define yourself by and realize they are not you. And with every moment of awareness, with every deep breath, the old neural pathways begin to weaken, and inner space opens for something new. But letting go is not easy. The old mind will resist. It will make you feel guilty, afraid, empty, because its job was to protect you, even if its way was harmful. It doesn't know who you are. It only knows who you were. And here is where your courage is needed, to sit with uncertainty, with nothingness, and stay, to be silent until a new voice rises from within you, not from the past, but from possibility. Letting go of the old mind is not death, but birth. And because you deserve to be born again, sit every day in that emptiness and watch how what you thought was you begins to dissolve until the true self emerges, the one you were searching for all along.
In a world full of noise and distraction, meditation may seem like a mere spiritual luxury, moments of calm in the chaos of life. But in Dr. Joe Dispenza's view, meditation is not an escape from reality, but a true gateway to a new reality. It is not just a means of relaxation, but a tool to break the boundaries of the old self and cross into what is possible. When you sit still, close your eyes, and withdraw from your surroundings, you are in fact doing something revolutionary. You are telling your body, your mind, your external world, I will not be today who I was yesterday. And that alone is the beginning of change. Dispenza describes meditation as the way we use the mind to go beyond the mind, as if you were using your awareness to transcend the programming that has always governed you. In the moment you stop looking outward and direct your attention inward, the journey of liberation begins. From environment, body, and time, the three forces that recreate you every day as you were. In meditation, you disconnect from the familiar, from your name, your role, your problems, even from your sense of body. You enter the space of nothingness, and from within that emptiness, possibility begins. Here you're not rethinking what you already know, but opening yourself to what you don't know yet, to a version of you not yet born, but in which you believe. It is a practice of full presence, of letting go of control, of trusting that there is a higher version of your life waiting for you to allow it to appear. But don't get it wrong. Meditation is not always comfortable. At first, your body will resist, your mind will fidget, and thoughts will come saying, "This isn't working." But that exact moment is the test. If you get past it, the old pathways begin to crack, and doors you didn't know existed begin to open. The beautiful thing is, when the mind is trained in presence, it begins producing new chemistry, calm, gratitude, trust, love, even before reality changes, as if you're getting ahead of events and teaching your body how to feel a future that hasn't happened yet. And here, the universe begins to respond. Meditation is the moment you meet your true self. It is the appointment you make with possibility. So sit and listen, not to what your mind says, but to what awareness whispers deep within. There is a version of you waiting to be given a chance to appear, and the path to it begins with a simple silence and a sincere intention.
In the moment of meditation, it is not enough to sit and close your eyes, because entering the depths of the self does not happen suddenly, but requires something like a ritual crossing, a true transition from the state of automatic living to a state of deep presence. And for this reason, Dr. Joe Dispenza affirms that preparing for meditation is a sacred act in itself. It is not merely a prelude, but part of the transformation process itself. Before you meditate, you must detach yourself from the outside world. Turn off the noise, close the doors, and let the body settle in a safe and quiet place. But more important than all of that, turn off the voice of haste within you, the one that says, "How long will this take?" Or, "Will anything really change?" Or, "I'm not in the mood right now." These voices are remnants of the old mind, trying to keep you where you've always been. Preparing for meditation means announcing to your body, "I am now the one in charge." To sit despite the desire to get up. To remain silent despite the screaming thoughts. To stay in place until the tension softens and your body enters a state of surrender. But the most important of all is the internal state with which you enter meditation. Do not enter to watch the clock, nor to wait for an instant miracle. Enter with a true, pure intention, like a silent prayer, in which you say to yourself, I am here to remember who I am. I am here to open a door toward my true self. I am here to allow a new version of me to be born. It may help you to breathe slowly, to observe your inhale and exhale. For breathing is not just calming, but the bridge between body and mind. Each breath is a reminder that you are still capable of changing moment by moment. And when your body begins to calm, and your mind begins to settle, and your emotions shift from anxiety to presence, from doubt to curiosity, know that you have become ready. For meditation does not begin when you close your eyes, but when your intention opens. Make the moment of preparation a sacred ritual, for you are not merely preparing for a silent sitting, but preparing to meet your new self.
The meditation of dismantling the old self is not an ordinary meditation, but an inner journey that resembles dismantling an ancient temple, stone by stone, with care, awareness, and love. The goal is not to reject who you were, but to clearly see what you have been hiding from yourself all this time. In this type of meditation, you do not seek comfort, but truth. You sit in stillness and let the old facade begin to crack. That personality you've been wearing every morning, with all its fears, beliefs, defenses, and reactions, starts to reveal itself. Dr. Joe Dispenza describes this meditation as the decisive step towards true change. For unless you face the old self and dismantle it, it will remain the hidden controller, reshaping your day, your emotions, and even your dreams. In the session, you begin with conscious breathing, then direct your attention inward. You silently ask yourself, who am I when I don't need to please anyone? Who am I without the need to complain, to defend, or to worry? And with every moment of silence, parts of the old ego begin to surface. A painful memory, a feeling of guilt, a fear of change, a desire for control. All of it rises to the surface, not to hurt you, but to teach you. For what you don't see controls you. The secret here is not to push these emotions away, but to see them, get to know them, then say, I am not this thought. I am not this fear. I can choose who I want to be and reshape myself. The meditation of dismantling the old self is not easy. You may cry, you may feel empty, you may long for your old self because it feels familiar. But if you sit long enough, with patience, with honesty, with love, you will feel something different, a new space opening within you, as if you've removed thick layers and a pure core appears, untouched by fear. And when you reach that place, you begin to write anew, not because you are running from your past, but because you are finally no longer a prisoner of it. So sit and make this meditation a moment of breaking and a moment of birth, because when you allow the old to fall apart, you give the new permission to appear.
The meditation of reconstructing the new self is the moment you shift from being a meditator to a creator. After you have dismantled everything that no longer resembles you, and after removing the mask that stuck to you for years, now comes the most beautiful part, to create anew. But not from emptiness, rather from awareness, from intention, and from a clear vision of who you choose to be. In this meditation, you don't ask, who was I? But rather, who
Who do I choose to be? You sit in your stillness, breathe deeply, and allow your heart to open to possibility. Then you begin to paint, not on paper, but on the canvas of your mind. You see yourself there, as if you are already the person you wish to become. How does he think? What emotions dwell within him? How does he behave when provoked? How does he rise every morning? What does he do when facing fear or disappointment? Don't just imagine it in your mind, but feel it in every cell of your being, as if you are wearing this new self the way a soldier wears his armor before heading out. You close your eyes and let your inner chemistry shift. The brain begins sending different signals. The heart tunes its rhythm to a new frequency, and the body, little by little, receives the message. This is who we are now. In that moment, you are no longer just imagining. You become a neurological programmer of yourself. Every minute you spend in this meditation, reactivating this new version, you make it more real in your brain than the past itself. Here, the future becomes an internal reality before it manifests externally. And this is the miracle, to precede change before it happens, to make your body feel something that hasn't arrived yet until it begins to act as if it has. Dispenza calls this stage complete alignment between thought, emotion, and intention. And here, change becomes inevitable, not because it's forced, but because it has become natural. So every morning you begin with this meditation. You are not recalling yesterday, but steering your compass toward tomorrow, toward your higher self, calmer, truer, stronger. So sit today, not just to meditate, but to create, because your new self is not something to wait for. It is something to build moment by moment, in your silence, in your intention, and in this sacred presence.
Imagine waking up each day without the weight of yesterday on your back or the fear of tomorrow clouding your heart. You open your eyes, not to live on repeat, but to begin anew, as if you are being born from within yourself once again, aware, present, free. At the end of this deep journey with Dr. Joe Dispenza, we realize that change does not happen in a fleeting moment, but in every moment we choose not to be the version we've always been, but the version we believe in. To live as your new self is to redefine yourself, not with words, but with actions, with feelings, with daily intention. It is to stop waiting for the outside to change, and instead begin changing the inside, steadily, consciously, with persistence. This is not the end of the road, but its beginning. And if one day you feel like you're going backward, remember, awareness cannot be erased. Intention is never lost, and true transformation is not measured by speed, but by consistency. Be who you want to be, not when the circumstances allow it, but despite them. Live as if your future is happening now, and every moment of awareness is a small victory over the version that no longer represents you. Green heart. And if you wish to continue this journey into depth, into change, into that quiet power within you, then join us and click subscribe, because we're here to walk with you every step of the way,
and to always remind you that you can break the habit and become yourself. Keep listening, keep growing on Audiobook Vault.
Every great mind starts with a single page, and you've just turned one. If this chapter's moved you, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe, hit the bell, and unlock the next idea. Keep listening, keep growing.